Julie Piekarski, and I'm a registered holistic nutritionist. I have been for about, I think I'm going into 4 years as of like January of next year. So it's just shocking how quickly that's gone by. I decided at 40, I wanted to be a nutritionist. And studied my butt off, and here we are. And now I teach women really how to lose weight effortlessly, but really with a concentration on metabolic flexibility, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. But I want women really to let go of their attachment to restrictive dieting and really work in balance with their body without having to give up everything that they love. I want women to feel amazing in their body. I want them to feel fiery, sexy, confident, lean, strong, all of those things that I know we all want to feel. And I do that with a metabolic approach. So working with these really cool hormones, some of which you may not know a whole lot about. But they are the key drivers to metabolism and weight loss and all of those really good things. So I see some people on here. I want you to say hi. Tell me that you are here. I'm just going to make sure that there are no other people that are requesting some entry in, but we'll keep an eye on that as we go along. And like I said, post any questions that you have in here. Oh, awesome. You can see me. And the music went away. Sorry about that. And what else did I want to say? Let's get started. I want to talk a lot. We're going to talk a lot about hormones and metabolism. But if you stick around to the end, I have a really cool way to support you for the next 5 days after today, actually really starting on Monday. And so it's going to be awesome. I want you to stick around to the end. I promise you, you're going to find it really helpful to make you feel really supported and confident when it comes to integrating a lot of these concepts that I'm going to be bringing to you today. I have a PowerPoint too as well that I will be sharing along the way. But here's the thing. I want you, before I pull a few slides up, I want to talk a little bit about metabolism. So, you know, really metabolism, it's a big topic, and I don't know if every woman understands what it is, but ultimately what it is how we utilize energy in our body. And there's signs of good metabolism and not good metabolism. So I'm going to list off things, some symptoms that may be indicators that your metabolism is off. And if you're on my Facebook group often, you'll know I talk a lot about this. So this may resonate with you, it might be new to you. So pop it in the Facebook group, any of these symptoms that you now are currently feeling. First one is you have a cold body. So hands and feet, or just your body is cold. So you find yourself even in the summertime, sometimes really cold. Your fingertips are cold. So pop that in if you feel that. Obviously, when it comes to weight, maybe you feel like, especially if you're in, you know, your late 30s into your 40s, but even now, regardless of your age, you just find that losing weight is just not possible for you anymore. You feel like it's stuck. While as maybe years before, you really didn't have an issue losing weight. Periods are irregular and painful. So if you have PMS, that may be a sign of not so good metabolism. Let me know if you feel any of these symptoms. Pop them in the group, please. Your energy is crap. Your digestion is crap as well. And what that means is if you're not properly eliminating two as well, so that means going number two, one at least once a day, if not 2 times a day, if not 3 times a day. So if you're not going number 2 daily, let me know if that's a problem. You have cravings that you feel like you cannot control. Let me know if that's something that you feel as well. Yes, hard to lose weight, and yep, PMS for sure. Awesome. Sleeping through the night. If you cannot sleep through the night, you're waking up periodically through the night. That's a sign of metabolism being off. Your mood is irregular too as well. If you can go 0 to 90 in like panic mode, or you get short with people, you lose your patience quicker. I will tell you that's me right now. as well. I will tell you why that is. Hopefully we get to that point. And then you find it hard to cope with stress. Tell me if that resonates. Tell me if that resonates. Jatinder saying we sound like a mess. Yes, if all of those are how you're feeling, yes, it does sound like your metabolism is a mess. So why is metabolic health important? And if you have an opinion on why you think that is, I will tell you a few reasons why metabolic health is really important, and really working with these. Predominantly what I like to work with is fat storage hormones and fat burning hormones. We'll get into a little bit about them. I'm not going to get too sciencey with you today, but that's the hormones, that's the metabolic approach that we're working with. And those in turn help to support those other hormones, those sex hormones like estrogen and progesterone and all of those things too as well. But it's important. Metabolic health is important from, of course, a weight loss standpoint or a weight management standpoint. And here's the thing. With the current climate that is happening right now, you know what I'm talking about. What has happened, and tell me if this has been you, ladies, over this past year and a half, maybe prior to this time that we're in, you found yourself on a regular workout schedule. You found that you were eating in pretty good alignment with your body and, you know, sort of that healthy approach. But obviously things changed, and then you found yourself working from home. Stress has increased because you might be homeschooling. You might be working from home. That's stressful for some people. And maybe you're working from home with your spouse and you're homeschooling at the same time. And your diet went awry because your stress is up. You may not have the time. And you found yourself sitting more than what you wanted to. So your workouts have gone out the window. So stress, nutrition, workouts, movement, whatever the case may be. And then we found ourselves sort of stuck, right? And in a lot of cases, gaining weight. I know I've worked with a lot of clients this past year and a half that have come to me specifically because the current climate that we're in has really forced them to slow down for whatever reason. Stress has a lot to do with it, uncertainty, not feeling safe, all of these things. And a lot of women have gained weight because of that. But with this current climate that we're in, metabolic health is really important, because if your metabolic health isn't good, you are at far greater risk for obesity, diabetes. We know these terms, cardiovascular issues, blood sugar issues, which is connected, of course, could be insulin related issues, kind of connected to diabetes. Those in turn do impact our immune systems too as well. So this is something that I'm really concentrated in. I am not your perfect nutritionist by any means. I still do have to be conscious of my own health and focus on that as well too. So here's what we're going to learn today. And maybe I'll share this screen actually, because we can get started on this, and you can see some slides a little bit, which will maybe help you. Feel free to take pictures if you want of some of these slides too as well. So here's what you're going to learn to know today. First things first, you are going to learn what the fuck is happening. And there's two reasons why you're not seeing results. I kind of grouped a few things into two groups because within that group, you may resonate with a few things. You may only resonate with one. So I tried to make it really simple for you. And then I'm going to show you how to master your metabolism. So I said 5 ways to become a master, to shed pounds, become stronger, and have more energy. I think it's closer to 6, maybe even 7, but some of them are connected together. So here's the struggle. And tell me, please, tell me if this resonates with you. I am the queen of fad dieting. I am the queen. I have tried them all. I have been on the Atkins, the low carb, the keto, the low everything, low fat. I did that. That was a detriment to my health. I actually was vegan for 5 years, became super skinny. And then my blood sugar was a mess. I was eating all the time. My hormones were a wreck. I had major anxiety at this time too as well. Not saying a vegan diet's bad, just saying I may have integrated it incorrectly. And I do work with plant-based clients, and so we work with that, but I did it wrong. Maybe you skipped meals. Tell me who in this group skips meals. I know there's some in there because I know some of you. Give me a heck yes to skipping meals. Maybe you've even fasted. You've tried fasting. It kind of helped. Dropped maybe 5 pounds, maybe 10, and then it all came back. You've gone on a juice or smoothie cleanse. Tell me if that's happened. I'm drinking the coffee elixir. If you got my email yesterday with a collagen elixir, and then there was a bulletproof coffee. That's what I'm sipping on today. Oh my God, heck yes, you know. So yes, some of you skip meals. I'll tell you why that's not helpful for metabolism. Maybe you've bought 21-day fixes, 28-day, 21-day, 30-day programs. Not saying that they're all wrong, because I've run 30-day programs, but I run 30-day programs not with the intention to help you lose weight. It's really to build some structure into your life. But there are 21-day programs that tell you you're going to lose 10 pounds in 21 days. Possible, for sure. But what do you do after those 21 days, right? You run or spin like a mad woman. Any runners out there? We're going to talk about movement. We're going to talk about the really key movements for metabolism. So if you are an active runner and you're not seeing results, I want to help you with that. And then maybe you've been up and down with weight and with diets. So my weight, I don't weigh myself, but I know that it's been up and down for sure. And I 100% have been on multiple diets. So, but you're not seeing results, right? And that's the key. So you're doing all these things, you see these things because Dr. Google tells you you should do a 21-day juice cleanse. And you'll lose weight. You will lose weight. But what do you do after those 21 days when life gets back to normal, right? You're not seeing the results. You lose that weight, you feel really good maybe, or you're starving. I'd be starving. But you see the results, you're like, wow, this is really working. I'm miserable, but it's working. And then the 21 days is over and you get back to real life. And within a week, boom, you're back to where you were before. If that sounds similar to what you've dealt with, give me a heck yes in the comments, please. And let me know if any of that struggle feels very real and relevant to you. And, you know, if you really haven't seen the results that you wanted because of that. So listen, here's the thing. Women are not small men. A lot, if not all of the programs that you see online were meant and for men and studied by men for men. So a lot of these studies that we look at a lot of times, especially your ketogenic approach to losing weight and boosting metabolism, not saying it's bad, but those studies and that plan was created for men. And so a man and a woman, if they start the same exact approach of weight loss, so if you both went on a ketogenic diet, you will more than likely have very different results. If you did exactly the same thing, ate the same thing, whatever the case may be, you both are going to have different results. And the reason for that is that women are not small men. We have so many things. Yes, Teresa says I've recently seen better results, but it does take a lot. And really, ultimately, it's integrating things that are going to work within your lifestyle too as well. And as I always tell women, you know, it might take a little bit of a longer time to integrate some of these things, but you will get there with a little bit of time and patience. So women are not small men. I love this term. We can't really rely on a lot of these diets and these approaches because we have hormones. And that's really just the long and the short of it. Our hormones dictate everything. And men really have a very different cascade of hormones. And they have testosterone, for example, which will keep them, probably depending on their general health, will keep them in fat burning mode on a 24-hour cycle. While as women, we're cyclical. So we can't really, we have to rethink, we have to reframe our approach to weight loss, because it's a completely different game when it comes to women. So let's talk about what the fuck is happening to you and what was happening to me. Really, the two reasons that you're not losing weight or fat, that really doesn't involve eating too much. Here's the thing, because a lot of women think they eat too much, when in fact they eat less than what they really need to. So here's the first one: poor blood sugar control. So there's this hormone called insulin. Tell me if you've heard of this hormone. Of course you have. Give me some hearts for a heck yes or thumbs up on insulin. So insulin is a blood sugar hormone, but it's also our fat storage hormone. And what that does is insulin comes in, thank you, to really help balance our blood sugar. So every time we eat something, for the most part, our blood sugar gets impacted. And so insulin swoops in to help balance that out so that we can continue to thrive and live. And that's really what it does. However, there are a few different things that can happen that really affect blood sugar imbalances or create blood sugar imbalances. First thing is skipping meals, you ladies that skip meals. Obviously, your blood sugar will tank at some point. And what ends up happening is it sets you up for overeating later on, for sure. And it will definitely, anytime that you are, a low blood sugar too as well, it, can really generate a lot of stress within the body too as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about stress, but once stress is really impacted too as well, if the body senses stress, it also goes into fat storage mode to protect us. So that's a really key thing to keep in mind, that although I'm an advocate for fasting to certain degrees, there's a time and a place for it. At the same time, you still need to make sure that metabolically, or really from a caloric standpoint, you're getting in enough nutrients as well in the body. Fasting. So if you are someone who has fasted, give me a heck yes if any of you have fasted over the years and really just have not seen the results that you've wanted to. Think about fasting. Like I said, women are cyclical. So, if there's a few approaches, if I look at fasting that I take with women. What's your level of stress like right now? It's usually a lot of times dependent on stress. If your stress is really high, your fasting protocol should really be altered. And in fact, really isn't something that you should be doing for long periods of time. The other approach is a cyclical approach to fasting. So women should not fast every single day. And that's the mistake I made. When I fasted, I was fasting every single day, doing really long fasts, skipping breakfast entirely, just going straight to lunch, and then of course dinner later on in the day. The thing about it is that when it comes to women, our metabolic needs increase, and there is a period of time in your cycle that your caloric needs will increase to up to 500 calories. So your body will tell you it's hungry and it needs more calories in order to do its thing, which is basically create this cycle. And our cycles are extremely important regardless of how old you are. Whether you're going to have children or not, they are like literally your lifeline to metabolism and sleep and energy and sex drive and everything. So it's really important that we honor that. And so fasting really should only be done during certain periods of your cycle, and then scaling back in other parts of your cycle too as well. So you can learn a lot about that. I definitely teach it in my program. Question is, do you mean overnight fasting or weeks at a time? For me personally, I actually encourage overnight fasting. We all fast overnight. I'm going to actually help support you with that later on in the show. And so I actually fast for the most part every day, but just cyclically. So very shorter fasts when I'm heading into my cycle, and longer fasts post cycle. But there's a tricky time in between the cycle, the start of your cycle and in between your next cycle too as well, where you actually will shorten that window of fasting, introduce some hormonally like hormone promoting foods and things like that. So it sounds like some of you have felt that way before, where you wake up and you're really hungry, or a couple hours into waking up and you're especially hungry. I want you to pay attention to that too as well. Perfect. So, and Teresa's saying she fasts usually 14 hours, but not while I'm on my period. So best time to fast actually is when you get your cycle, believe it or not. It's leading into your cycle that I would say you would want to loosen the strings on the fasting. I can help you with that though, Teresa. Let me know. So the other point too is grazing all day. So grazing means snacking all day. So if you're having breakfast, then you're having a snack, then you're having lunch, then you're having a snack, then you're having dinner, then you're having a snack. You're constantly pushing up your blood sugar. And at some point, there's only so much insulin to go around. And when that insulin is too high, or not too high, but when there's too much glucose to sort of balance for insulin to balance, it gets into fat storage mode right away. So pay attention to how much you're eating in a day. This isn't so much about eating too much, it's just eating maybe too often. From an evolutionary standpoint, humans were not meant to eat 5 to 6 meals a day. And in fact, really, less than what we typically see in a North American diet. So 3 meals a day is even pushing it, just depending on what you're eating within that time. So interesting is I feel so hungry when I get my period. So yes, I would say the first few days leading into your cycle, and then maybe like the day 1, day 2, definitely scale back that fasting. But you will find going into day 3, maybe even day 2, you're going to feel that surge of energy. You're going to want leaner foods. That's a really great time to do your fasting. The 40 Club. So any of you who are in your late 30s into your 40s, and of course, 40s into 50s, your hormones are shifting. So naturally, our body starts to lose progesterone. And progesterone is the hormone that helps us with, sort of balancing the blood sugar, keeping, helping with metabolism and all of those things. It's a calming hormone too as well. Testosterone also goes down. Women do have testosterone, so that also starts to decline, and testosterone is the one that helps us to build muscle. And when we have really good lean muscle, it also helps to burn fat as well naturally. So that's a really cool thing. I'm just checking to make sure we don't. Okay, perfect. Not missing anything. Okay, and then just being on and off diets are the killer of dreams, I tell you. So if you've been going on and off diets too as well, it's really important to know that that's a really that is a way to really kill metabolism. It's not to say that you can't get it back. It's just if you've been on, off, your metabolic rate shifts too as well. And so when you sort of get into a dieting approach, I'm saying dieting loosely, but if you're starting to reduce calories, your metabolism adapts to that at some point. And then you might find yourself sort of just flatline. And that's the thing, and especially if you've been on and off, your metabolism is starting to get really confused about what is reality. And so that's what's really key here is if you've been somebody who is been on and off diets, it's going to take your body some time to recalibrate. And a lot of that is making sure that you have good blood sugar control, which is key. So the second reason your efforts may be stalled is inflammation. So this is a really, really big one and often overlooked component to any weight loss approach. So let's talk about our second fat storage hormone, which is cortisol. You all should know cortisol. It's our stress hormone. And when we are stressed, I know many of you aren't, well, I know some of you on here that have joined that are dealing with a lot of stress right now. So when you are dealing with a lot of stress, cortisol increases. And the thing about it is if you're chronically dealing with this level of stress all the time, it's also pushing your blood sugar up too as well. So cortisol goes up, insulin goes up, and they go directly into fat storage mode, especially if you're not managing your stress properly or adequately. And here's the thing, what are you reaching for when you're stressed? There's two things, food, and maybe it's sugar, and maybe it's those really starchy carbohydrates. And two could be alcohol too as well. I forgot to mention here with poor blood sugar control is too many refined carbohydrates. We're going to talk a little bit about carbohydrates as well, because they certainly get a bad name these days, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not good for us, because they are great for us and we need them to thrive. But if you're eating a lot, like a lot of rice, like a cup of rice per meal or a meal per day or more, along with other things, it can be pushing your blood sugar up more than you need to. So when it comes to inflammation, stress boosts inflammation. And when you're stressed, you're reaching for all the wrong things, food, maybe not the right types of food like sugar and those refined carbohydrates. For me, it's potato chips. And two, it's alcohol. You had a really hard day and you need to relax. So we reach for the cocktails. I'm not poo-pooing cocktails because I enjoy them myself. The other way to really impact inflammation is sleep, poor sleep. So not getting to bed at a reasonable time. To me, 10 o'clock is a dead stop. I'm actually usually in bed by 9:30. Even 11 to me is pushing it. And the reason why is we're altering, the body's natural balance with the circadian rhythm, which is our sleep and awake response. And so we should be going to bed with the moon. When the sun goes down, that's when we go to bed, and we rise with the sun. That's really, again, from an evolutionary standpoint, where the body becomes in alignment. But what often happens is that we stay up till 11, sometimes 12. We're on our phones, computers, we might be eating. So then we're disrupting our digestive process because we've just consumed food when the body thinks it's going into the rest and digest mode. All of those things. So really sleep is super critical. Hydrogenated oils, canola oil, all your seed oils like sunflower, safflower, canola, like I said. These are unfortunately inflammatory oils, and they are the most consumed, and they are the most found in a lot of the foods, especially processed foods that we eat. For example, potato chips, which I love and I buy, but now I focus on like avocado-based potato chips because hydrogenated oils are super inflammatory. Another two ways that inflammation happens is over-exercising. We'll talk about that as we go along. And then if you get into the 40 club, inflammation happens a lot easier because we have this reduction of hormones, that all of these hormones really are anti-inflammatory. And when they start to decrease and we're not really, helping to support them, then we are raising inflammation in our body. And when we have inflammation, we get cravings. And when our blood sugar, these two go in tandem. When our blood sugar is not in good control, we eat maybe not the best foods. Canola based foods, for example, let's say, then, we get inflammation, and inflammation can lead to a lot of cravings. So here's some ways to master your metabolism. And again, if you hang on to the end, I'm going to show you a way that I'm going to help support you over the next week. So let's go through these, and then we'll talk about integrating them over the next few days. First one is time restricted eating. So I know many of you have talked about fasting, and I see that so many of you do fast. But here's the thing, what we want to do is we want to honor our bodies. We want to honor the circadian rhythm of our bodies, which our body as humans, we all are connected with the circadian rhythm. And one of them is making sure that as soon as we get up, we're not pumping ourselves full of food. We want to give that time for our body to reset, digest. I find this really a bit of a game changer. So instead of fasting, for many of you, let's ditch fasting for a while, but let's go with time restricted eating. So what that means is you're still having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but between dinner the night before and breakfast the next day, you're going 12 to 14 hours with just water, black coffee, whatever that case may be. I'm really focused on hydration. Really important first thing in the morning to get things moving. I like to add a little bit of lemon or apple cider vinegar. I have actually a lot of things in this puppy, but that's definitely a way to support you too as well. So you can start incorporating that right away. It doesn't have to be, a dead stop, a hard stop at 12 or 14. It's just feel in your body what works for you. Oh, here's the thing, protein. Women do not eat enough protein. It's crazy. And everybody's so scared of protein because they think that they're going to get a heart attack. You're not going to get a heart attack if you're eating quality foods. If you're reducing your inflammation in your body, if you're eating the proper oils like avocado and olive oil, ghee, coconut oil, those are really great oils of good saturated fat. Let me know if you are a consumer of any of those really heart healthy oils. Awesome. But we have studies that show the higher your protein intake, there is an increase of energy expenditure, which is metabolism, right? Calories in and how we burn fuel or energy efficiently to produce energy. And that's what we're talking about. So if you are consuming the right amount of protein, you are naturally going to yes, good. So it definitely helps increasing proteins, they are saying, which is awesome. And getting in that fat is essential. So 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. You are going to be surprised at how much that is. That's, depending on your protein powder, it's a full scoop of protein powder. So if you're having a smoothie in the morning, take a look at your protein powder. What is one serving of protein? Usually it's around 20-ish grams of protein. So if you're doing a smoothie, that's a great way to get protein. Protein in the morning is like the key, really. Keeps protein out, helps with keeping you fuller, longer, satiating. It actually helps to build muscle. And the thing about it is you're not necessarily going to build these huge muscles by increasing your protein intake. You literally need a boatload of testosterone, which we don't have as much as men. So don't be scared about protein, but this is a widely overlooked component to metabolism. And as you get older, you need it even more so. Okay, next one. You need to eat enough. I will tell you that 99%, 100% of the clients that I work with eat too little. And as we've learned before, let's go back, under eating will promote fat storage. So if your caloric intake is not a match to your body type, your height, your weight, all of those things, it will go into fat storage mode. And if you're in a calorie deficit for too long, which means you're, again, under eating, vastly under eating, your body responds by slowing down your metabolism. It's science. It's science. And this is probably something that you don't see on Google when you are trying to Google how to lose weight. It's not going to tell you that if you undereat, your body will
possibly, depends on the woman, will slow down. Most women need to eat 1,800 to 2,000 calories. Most of the women that I work with are on 1,200 to 1,500 calorie diets. And so they are, excuse me, really surprised actually. And I have a client here actually, example right now that I just wanted to pop on here because this is a client that I worked with. She is 55. She just finished with me, and a TV producer actually, and a very stressful job. And she's Canadian, worked in the US. So she had to, with the whole thing that happened to the world, she was living in the US when everything went boom, and she had to come back to Canada. And actually her living situation was interesting too. She lived on a boat. She had a house, but she had rented it out. And so she had to literally live on a boat with her husband, confined with space, confined with things that they could eat and things like that. So anyways, in this client, when she is saying that she's eating way, way more than what she used to, and that because of that, she never actually gained weight, and that her moods were really balanced. She was feeling less stress because we increased her protein, increased her fat. And in fact, while she didn't lose actually a lot of weight, like a number on a scale, she actually lost measurements, really. She lost, I can't remember how many centimeters. Thank you for the thumbs up. And this is the thing. This is the key of really great metabolism, where you're losing inches. The weight's not so much the issue, and I'm going to tell you why. It's actually the measurements in the inches. And for her, it's in her waistline. Clearly, it was a waist measurement, and she was just delighted. And it's interesting because she was wearing a lot of yoga pants. And she's like, I don't know. I said, you've lost inches. You need to go get out of the yoga pants. And this is what she tells me. And so that's a really, really big, big win for women. Yoga pants are very misleading. I get you. Okay, make friends with fat. Here's the thing. You all know we need to increase fat. I'm sure that there's a lot of, so Teresa says the scale hardly moves. Yeah, I mean, you can change your scale. You can look at your weight every single day and it's going to change every single day. Not so motivating, is it? And in some case, like for me, I weigh myself too at the gym, and on a Saturday morning, where maybe the night before, last weekend, for example, I shared a pizza with James, my husband, and we had wine. I had a cocktail before, and my weight had gone down 2 pounds. A sign, probably very good metabolism, but also the thing about it is, if you're on your period, you can gain up to 8 pounds of water weight just in that time alone. So if you don't know that and you jump on the scale and you're like, I just gained 5 pounds overnight, and you don't make that connection, that is the killer of dreams right there. No wonder you're going to quit your diet because of that. So with my clients, of course, I teach them the right way to look at their success, and it's not always about measuring. So make friends with your fats, healthy fats. We know what those are: olive oil, avocados, olives, hemp hearts, any of those, even really fatty cuts of meat, as long as they're good quality. But fat is your most sustainable source of energy, not glucose, not carbohydrates. While we need them, fat is your most sustainable. So that's what's going to keep your blood sugar level. It's going to keep you energized, keep you satiated, really good for skin, really great in supporting your hormones. The best way to start is starting to reduce those starchy carbohydrates. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But here's the thing. We want to look at about 30 grams of fat per meal. That's 30 is a little high, but if, on the higher scale, but it depends on the woman. I thrive with lots of fat. So I'm probably in the 30 gram club. Okay, waist to hip ratio. This kind of goes in tandem with movement. And I talked about that client before. Waist to hip ratio is really what defines your healthy distribution of fat.
And if you hold a lot of your weight in your gut, that is a sign that your visceral fat accumulation is higher. While as what we're looking for is that hourglass. I have an hourglass on here specifically, and a lot of women look at like, oh, that hourglass stuff, whatever. To me, that is a good sign of waist to hip ratio, or sorry, a healthy distribution of fat. So if you're like, oh, I've got hips, I'm like, honor those hips, girls. Yeah, like that's the best thing. We want to make sure that we're keeping the waistline trim. So we want to reduce that waist circumference in relation to your hip. So that's what happened to my client. So she obviously lost inches with her waist, and that's ideally where we want to see that happening. And the reason for that is, if we go back to the beginning about why metabolic health is so important, that metabolic health is key, is really reducing that waist weight in particular. So how do you do that? Well, protein for sure, adding in your fats, but it is exercising efficiently too as well. And we want to, if you're a runner, I don't disagree with running. It's a great way to, from a cardiovascular standpoint, but it should not be the be all and the end all. You can actually lose a lot of weight running, but you don't gain muscle. And the thing about it is that muscle burns fat, and muscle continues to burn fat as you sit. Literally. Build more muscle, build more lean muscle, and your metabolism will run for you even while you're sleeping or watching TV. So 3 ways is sprints are really great for that. It's not going to build your muscle, but that is, from a fat burning standpoint, a really great way. HIIT workouts, high intensity interval training, another great way to lose fat. Weight training and resistance training needs to be incorporated in any of those. So weights are really key. So especially as you get older, helps with, of course, our bones and things like that, but it's that muscle building that's really going to keep that boosted metabolism. And then you want to honor your cycle. You shouldn't, if you're a runner every single day, you may not be, well, you're not working in alignment with your cycle. So in the first half of your cycle, so like day 1 of your period, maybe not day 1, day 2, 3, you're going to feel really good energetically. And so that's the time to do really your high intensity type workouts. And then when you're leading into your cycle, like that week out where you start to feel really sluggish, and it might be longer for you, you really want to scale it back. And so maybe it's just more yoga, and maybe some resistance training that's really not high intensity, but it's like lay off the high intensity stuff and focus on more restorative too as well. And it's actually really good for your body, especially like myself. I do a lot of weight training, but I had to take a little bit of a break this week. Well, because the car wasn't here because we had some work done. So it just sort of like scaled it back a little bit, but I'm back this afternoon. So okay, let's eat some carbs. Really important to get in. Any questions about working out? And any questions at all? Pop them in the comment box, even if you're watching the replay afterwards too as well. Just let me know what your question is specifically, and I will go back in and answer that. So focus on fiber. That's the thing. So we want to pay attention to the quality of our carbohydrates. And you know, what are, you all tell me, what are high quality carbohydrates that you would choose while I take a sip of water? Please tell me in the comments, what do those look like? What do you choose, I guess? Although there's a really good picture of them right there. So the key is to reduce those starchy carbs, right? So the pastas, the rice and things. Not saying you can't have it. I had pasta last night, for example, but it's like the quantity. So yes, veggies, quinoa, millet are great. So vegetables is where I would have you focus. Quinoa and millet are great too as well. I generally go a grain-free approach, but I eat them on occasion. for sure. We're looking at about 30 grams, excuse me, per meal of sort of like those carbs. I want plenty of vegetables, of course, in there, right? So here's the thing. Here's a comment about really making that balanced approach. So these are actually two clients. It was a tag team, and really just having that flexible eating approach. Of eating, right? And it's not just giving away with everything, because as soon as you take everything off the table, your body adapts to that. So if you're just doing juice cleanses, or you're restricting everything, you're taking all the sugar, everything off the table, your body adapts to that metabolically. And then at some point life happens and you go back to it, and then you gain it all back again. That's the trick. So maybe it doesn't mean taking everything off the table. It's just really focusing on some of these perspectives that I'm giving you and integrating that. So yeah, and this client, or one of the two clients, was, like feeling like they weren't on a diet. So eating healthier, being more active, and they're still losing weight, still being able to incorporate what they love. So lentil noodles was the question. Yes, there's actually a brand that I like. Yes, I'm a go-to for that on occasion as well. There's a brand that I eat from Costco that's really good. It's mostly lentil with a little bit of rice. But again, keep in mind, it's still like a starchy carbohydrate too as well. So I would go, a bit heavier on the protein. So if you're adding stuff to that, and then heavier on the veggies, and then your pasta below that a little bit less than probably what you would think. I should have posted a picture last night of mine, because I did like a pasta, but I had some turkey sausage in there, lots of veggies. I'm really a high fiber focus as well. It's really, really key. So here's the thing. This is quality carbs, right? On the left for you, I believe, is white bread. Digests quickly, spikes blood sugar. Metabolically, it's not going to do anything for you. If you just eat a piece of toast for breakfast, I bet you an hour later, you are hungry again, maybe even less. While as something like a sweet potato, or this item in front, it's just an example, is got more complex molecules in it, and it's got fiber. So it's going to take time to break down in the body. So it's kind of like a slow release of energy, versus the one on the left, like the white flour, is quick. And it's not going to be satiating. It's not going to give you, it's going to give you energy right away, but then it's going to drop really quickly. While it's something like a sweet potato with some eggs is going to keep you way more satiated. Wonder if you've heard this before. Stressed, spelled backwards, is dessert. What do? I said before we get into a stress mode, what do we reach for? Sugar, carbohydrates, starchy kinds, the ones that are really going to give us our quick relief, and wine too as well. So you need to really honor the place that you're in. It's, if you are stressed, you need to start integrating things into your life to help mitigate that. So there is a link between sleep and obesity. There are tons of studies. I was gonna pull some up, but you can literally go on PubMed and put sleep plus obesity, and you're going to see a gazillion studies. So if your sleep is not dialed in and you're struggling to lose weight, I can't help you, because from a lifestyle standpoint, it's going to have more to do with your lifestyle and less to do with your nutrition. Because if the sleep isn't dialed in, it's not going to be good. So you need to sleep properly. Lots of tips that you can get online on how to help that. In my program, I do help clients specifically with sleep. Really important to prioritize you. So if you're a mama and you're giving a lot to others, and then you're given a lot during your day, whether or not you're a mama or not, just, giving to others like I do a lot, you need to manage your stressors, and you need to prioritize you. Also, a thing I help support my clients with, we can go way deep into it, but I won't right now, but ask any questions. I want to talk about supplementing a little bit. So supplements are not going to help you lose weight, right? Like you can't supplement your way through a bad diet and poor exercise. Just keep that in mind. But I am sharing 3 supplements that I recommend clients to use. So in this approach, if you are identifying with a lot of the things that I am talking about right now, in this approach, these are the 3 things that I would recommend to a client right now. And if you stay to the end, I will definitely share how you can get these 3 supplements. So curcumin is turmeric. Turmeric you can see from the top, but curcumin on your left is something that I take daily, especially leading into my cycle, to help tame inflammation. It's a powerful, powerful herb, and it's 100% natural. You can take it on an empty stomach. Although I do recommend taking supplements, especially curcumin with fat. So if you do a blended coffee, if you're enjoying a blended coffee, it would be perfect to take right now. Magnesium, in particular, the bisglycinate is the calming mineral, magnesium. It actually also helps to, digest or process proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. So from a metabolism standpoint, it actually helps with metabolism too as well. But it calms the nervous system, helps to calm the nervous system. It also helps with bowel movements. So if you're having a really hard time with that, although bisglycinate, if you are constipated, I would probably recommend citrate initially, but get in lots of water, get in lots of fiber, and then take magnesium too as well. Liquid Light is something that I've been taking the past month or so. It came recommended to me. It's a liquid. It's got 2 really cool ingredients in it. There's more than that. It doesn't taste much like anything. You just take a capful. You can take it on an empty stomach. You can put it in your water. You can put it in your smoothies. It's got 2 key ingredients that I love. Selenium is a mineral, and it really helps with your thyroid. It's shocking how many women are mineral imbalanced, and one of them is selenium. And when you're living a high-paced life, more than likely you need to support your thyroid. And as you get older, your thyroid needs a lot more support as well. I'm gonna look at the time here. We're almost at 10, so I wanna be conscious of your time. The second thing is chromium. Chromium is a supplement or a mineral that I share with my clients too as well, who have really imbalanced blood sugar. Oftentimes they're just low in chromium. And while it won't go away all of your cravings, it does actually help to reduce them. And so I take this daily. It's really energizing too as well. In the Facebook group, I'll actually share a link to this particular protocol. So if you do want to order them, you can through my Full Script account. You get 10% off too as well, or you just go and buy them yourself. Liquid Light is, I would assume, a trademark blend, so I don't think you can get any other alternatives to it, but your 2 minerals here are easy to get elsewhere. So let's talk about next steps and how I can support you. You've had lots of really great questions, really great comments. Keep them coming. But what I want to do is help support you, because that's a lot of information. So I am so excited. This is something I am only going to be offering in this Facebook group. So I will share this with everybody on email after this, to let everybody know who wasn't able to join live, how I can support them all in a 5-day period to integrate a lot of these things. But I think nutrition is generally the hardest for women to wrap their brain around. And in my specific programs, my Rebalance by Julie program, which is my 90-day weight loss program, the number one thing that women want support in is how to eat. Like, they just can't visually understand how to place everything together. So this is where I'm going to help you. So starting on Monday till Friday, and it's going to be fun, I promise you. Every day I have a theme. So day 1, we're going to talk about hydration. I'm going to give you a morning elixir, which is lemon water, or apple cider vinegar water, but I will show you some variations to help support your body. Let me know if you're excited about this in the comments too as well. Give me some hearts and thumbs up if you are game for a little challenge, an easy challenge. So integrate one on day one is to hydrate and some time restricted eating. And then we carry on to day 2, where we'll just focus on breakfast. So I'm going to jumpstart your day with the ideal breakfast that I would recommend to any of my clients in my programs. And looks awesome. Thank you. Day 3, we're just going to talk about optimal eating. So fat burning meals that I will give you, that will be done in a jiffy. And then we're going to talk about snacks, day 4, because I know everybody wants to snack. But I'm going to tell you, if you're going to snack, what are the best things to pick, and how to integrate that into your life. The focus is going to be that optimal plate. So every day you're going to integrate one thing and try and carry it over to the next. And then day 5, I'm going to do a cocktail hour. I am going to tell you what I choose for my cocktails that will keep my metabolism in shape, and really how I integrate that into my life, because I do drink alcohol. That's my thing. I enjoy it once in a while for sure, but also non-alcoholic drinks, because I understand for many of you who do not drink, you think that you all have to go to sugar. And awesome. I'm glad you're excited. So I will share some non-alcoholic drinks that are going to be low sugar that you could still enjoy, and that will be delicious at the same time. So with breakfast, I'm going to offer 2 breakfast options, 2 lunch and dinner options. Actually, so I think that's 4. Some snack ideas, and then cocktails too as well. And so you don't have to eat them, but it's going to give you the framework of what it's like to eat. So it will come with a shopping list. All of those things, you don't have to eat those, but here's where it's really going to get fun though, and really going to help you. So in the Facebook group starting this evening, if not early tomorrow morning, go in this Facebook group that you're currently in, and you're going to find the recipes. You'll find the full meal plan, all of the recipes, and then every single day I will post the individual recipes too as well, so you still have that. So 2 things. So the step 2 is starting Monday. I want you to post your meals, your snacks, even your movement if you wish. You can do them in time. So if you're sitting down and you've got your salad that I'm going to give you, or soup, or whatever the case may be, snap a picture of what that looks like and post it in the Facebook group. You can do it in time, or you can do it at the end of the day. And I will go in and I'm going to tell you whether you need more. I'm probably going to tell you to eat more. If you need more protein, if you need more fat, what's missing, what could have made it a little bit more satiating. I want to know how you felt. Did you like it? Did you feel great after you ate it? Those sorts of things. So this is the type of coaching that I give in my programs as it is. And I want to give it to you for 5 days, because I get where the struggle is. The struggle is real. Thank you. And 3, you're going to get that support and coaching. So ask all the questions that you want at that time, any day between now and Friday of this coming week. Ask anything you want. I'm going to jump in live too as well, intermittently, to check up on you, help support you. There will be tips every day too as well. Really simple tips to help support you along the way. And if you're on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, because I am going to come along with you. I'm going to enjoy the ride with you. I have a really, really big week coming up too. So this will be great actually to integrate, and we'll end the evening, or end the Friday with a cocktail, non-alcoholic or alcoholic too as well. I thought that'd be a fun way to end it. Oh, Teresa loves that, because she loves rosé like I do. And I know Jatinder does too as well. So questions about this, you will get an email after this with, basically my explanation. I know a lot of the women that weren't able to make it, I want to ensure that they are invited. I will sort of invite the Instagram to join too as well, but they all have to come into that Facebook group as well. And my newsletter list, I'll invite them too as well. It's a pretty quick challenge, a quick turnaround, but it's going to be easy. The recipes are very easy. And I made it that way specifically because I like to hit the easy button myself. So we're at 10 o'clock, I think. So I just want to give it 1 minute for any questions. And again, everything will be in the Facebook group as of tonight. And then every day you are going to get a prompt every day to remind you to as well. I really, though, encourage you to post the pictures. There's no shaming at all. I do not food shame. Yeah, at all. So if you're apprehensive about that, don't be. I think that it's really weight loss, metabolism, eating adequately, all of these things are really overwhelming for women. And there's no really wrong way. It's just maybe tweaking it and ultimately to help you feel more aligned in your body and have the energy that you want, and to feel, you know, like you have the support in place in order for you to integrate that into your life, because it's shockingly easier than you think once you get the grasp of it. So I'll also post those supplements in there too as well if you are interested in looking into them. Again, they're really helpful as well for your process. But if you need any other recommendations, just post that in the Facebook group too. So there will be a supplement list. You'll have your full meal plan. There will be a shopping guide. All of that. You'll be able to integrate your own foods too as well. And I think that that's where, you know, a great way to post what you're eating, and I can really help you, give you my recommendations on how to really amplify that the next time. So lots of integration, and you can't integrate if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't have all the support. So that is it for me today. Woo! Awesome. It's 10 o'clock or after 10 o'clock. I'm so surprised I got it all done in an hour. Whew. Teresa, you should be so proud of me. Okay, gals, those of you who are joining afterwards, please make sure that you add all your questions. Please comment, and let me know if you're going to join. I'll see you in the group. I'll pop in, like I said, intermittently. And if you have any questions, let me know, but keep your eyes open for a post masterclass email. And if you do not get that email, don't worry about it. It will all be in the Facebook group as of this evening. All right. Love you all. Thanks for coming.